Hi all. So today we are going to discuss information systems. This is the first presentation we have in section F of CMA Part 1. So the first presentation we are going to discuss information system, and the first topic in this is going to be Introduction to Accounting Information Systems, or we call it as AIS. So we'll see what is exactly AIS is. An AIS is a computer-based method that involves collecting, storing, and processing financial and accounting data. Or in short, we can say we are using information technology to do our accounting and financing functions. We are using information technology for it. That is what we call it as accounting information systems. And while using accounting information system, we can expect high efficiency and effectively you can reach your reporting goals. But again, we have to make sure that whatever you entered into the system has to be the data with high quality. Otherwise, you will not get the reliable output from the system. Or in short, we can say garbage in, garbage out. So if the quality is high, which is entered into the system, you will get the output also with high quality. So this accounting information system will be dealing with different functionalities in a business. So suppose if you are implementing computer-based or IT-based system to handle your operations and your accounting functionalities, everything, then you will be facing with different functionalities, or we call them as different cycles. For example, you will have revenue cycle. Here we will be dealing with selling our goods and services and collecting cash. Purchasing and expenditure cycle, we are dealing with how much or how we are buying goods from outside and when and how we are paying. Production cycle will be dealing with how the production process is happening in the organization, and human resources and payroll cycle will be dealing with how employees are hired and how you are paying to them, and what are all the data it is kept in the accounting information system. Financing cycle is dealing with how you are generating fund for the organization to work. And fixed asset cycle, this will be dealing with how you are acquiring the fixed asset and how you are maintaining them, how you are keeping the depreciation data. All those things will be covered under fixed asset cycle. General ledger, finally, all the information from different modules will have to end up in general ledger so that we can prepare an accurate financial statement. So your AIS, accounting information system, that deal with all these cycles. And we will see this one by one in the coming slide. The first one is revenue to cash cycle. So what is revenue to cash cycle? This is the cycle of selling goods and services and collecting your customers' cash. So you will have a lot of processes in this. Imagine you are getting a customer order. A customer is telling, okay, I want this item and this quantity. So once you are getting order, if this customer is buying you on credit from you, you will check his credit. Is his limit is reached, and what is his credit history? Is he going to pay you the money? Once it is done, then you will look for whether we have the inventory or not. For all this, what we can do, what we can use an accounting information system. A computer-based accounting system can be used to do all this process. Then you will prepare a sales order. And after that, prepare inventory and picking ticket and pick inventory items from your store. And then you will prepare shipping documents like packing slip and bill of lading. Then you will send these items after packing up. Then you have to send the invoice to customer and you have to record your account receivable. Okay, this much amount I have to collect from this customer. And later you will receive the customer, you will receive the amount from the customer and you have to record that also. So that's what here, record cash receipts, and also you will update the accounts receivable that it is received now. So this is one of the process, and this is called the revenue cycle. When a customer is buying an item from you, what are the processes through which we are going and how AIS or accounting information system is going to help you. So that's what we are explaining in revenue cycle. And this activities, whatever I discussed, that is explained here in text format. We have seen the diagram for that. This you can just read and see. And in this cycle, why we are using accounting information system? We have a lot of things need to be done, or we have a lot of information need to get from this accounting system, right? So tracking the sale of goods, how many units you are selling, or what's the amount of sale you are making, and how many orders are fulfilled to the customers, and how much you have to get from each customer, and what are the data we have about the customer, and how goods or services are billed, or how many items and which category items are sold more. And also you can use it for recording the payments and even forecasting sales, and you're forecasting cash and all, you can get it done through an AIS system. And what are the output you may get from this cycle if you use accounting information system? You can get normally sales report. You can make customer statements that will summarize how much amount you have to get, how much received, what sales you made to them, all the information, their aging report and their collection report, how good these customers are paying. All this can be retrieved using an accounting information system. So first we are using revenue cycle and we are using AIS to get the output what we need in our system. The second can be purchasing and expenditure cycle. So you want to buy something for your organization. So what are the steps you have to go through and how AIS is going to help you in this? That's what we are going to see in the next slide. Again, we have here purchasing and expenditure cycle. So this cycle is starting with request for goods or services and ends with payment to the vendor. For example, if one of the employee in your organization, he want to buy a laptop, so he will make a request. So that request has to go through different processes using your accounting information system, and then you will buy this laptop and you will pay for it. So what are the things or what are the processes you will be going through the AIS? That's what we are going to see in the next slide. So you can see here in a diagrammatic format, first inventory control creates a purchase requisition. In the inventory control module, maybe an employee is making a purchase requisition or a department head is making a purchase requisition. They want to buy something. Then purchasing creates a purchase order, PO. So whatever the request they got, they will make a PO. And this PO will be sent to the vendor, and the vendor is shipping the item to the company. And your store manager or whoever receiving the goods, they will receive the goods and they will count and they will inspect and they will accept the items are as per our requirement, and they will prepare a receiving report. And then these items are transferred to the inventory of the inventory module. And accounts payable receive the purchase order, receiving report and invoice from the vendor. So they will get a purchase order that we send already to them to make sure that we have proper authorization to buy this item, then receiving report and an invoice. The receiving report is actually showing the company received the item, and invoice is showing this much amount we have to pay to the vendor. Then this purchase order, receiving report and vendor invoice, this constitutes a voucher package. So for an accountant, for him to pay this amount to a vendor, he wants to know whether if we ordered for this item or not. So that purchase order will help him for that. Whether we receive the goods or not, the receiving report will help him. And the invoice to match the amount what vendor is mentioned is in line with the amount mentioned in the purchase order. Then the accounts payable is updated by accounts department. And cash payments, disbursements or prepared payment for the check, payment for the invoice. Maybe this will be paid immediately or maybe based on the credit terms what they have agreed upon. And finally check is paid and accounts payable is updated. So all these things can be done through an AIS, Accounting Information System. Okay, and this will help you, or these are the activities that is, again, it is explained in the diagram. You can just read this, what all the activities we will go through in purchase cycle. And why we have to use AIS for this? We have to track purchases. How many items or what we are purchasing every month or every year. And how much money we have to pay to the vendors. And you have to maintain the vendor records, all the information about the vendors and a list of authorized vendors. Their telephone number, their contact person, what items they deal with, all those information. And also managing inventory to ensure that all goods purchased are received. For all this information we can use AIS. And even for forecasting your purchase. So you will have the output if you have AIS to handle your purchase. You will have check or payment advice and the payment register. You will have a cash requirement for forecast. A cash requirement forecast. A discrepancy report that note differences in items, quantities or amounts on the purchase order and the receiving report. Suppose if you order for 10 items but you received only 9 items, one is missing. So that discrepancy reports even you can get through NIS, and a lot of things you can do, but this is only a few lists. And also we have to talk about this voucher package. So before we pay for a vendor, normally an accountant has to get a purchase order from purchasing department. Okay, we have a purchase order sent and properly authorized and sent to the vendor. And we have a receiving report to make sure that we receive the goods, and we have invoice from vendor. So all these All these three documents constitutes a voucher package. So this is like a proof of order and proof of receiving goods and proof of billing. So using this voucher package, an accountant or an accounts payable clerk can release the payment. Then it comes production cycle. So here we are using production cycle. So we are using AS for production cycle. And there are different steps also done when we do production activities in-house. So production managers issue material requisition forms. So now the production manager want to make something. So he will do material requisition form. So based on that, physical inventory is taken periodically and reconciled to inventory records. And if the inventory in the storeroom is falling below a predetermined level, normally we have to make a purchase from outside, right? So a purchase requisition is issued to the purchasing department. A bill of material for each product is used to show the components needed and the quantities for each needed to manufacture a single unit of product. So to make one unit, how many components needed? That's what we can call as bill of materials. So that need to be confirmed. That can be done through an IAS system. The master production schedule that we do in AIS shows the quantities of goods needed to meet anticipated sales. So how many units of materials you need and when the items need to be produced, all those information will be there in master production schedule. And also we can get the information about labor time needed to make the intended number of units. So you are using here accounting information system for tracking purchases of raw materials, how many we are buying, monitoring and controlling manufacturing cost, how the cost is spent in the organization. Is it going above the budget or within the budget? Managing and controlling inventories, controlling and coordinating the production process, and the input for making the budgets in the organization, collecting cost accounting data for operational managers to use. Also providing information for manufacturing variance report. So you may prepare variance report. What was the standard cost in which the number of units supposed to be produced and how much you spent and what's the variance. All these reports you can get from an IAS. If you use an IAS for your production, you will have certain output that you can retrieve. Material price list showing prices paid for raw materials, kept up to date by purchasing department. So how much material you are paying for the raw materials and how you are using those raw materials by various departments. Also you can compare what inventory is shown in the system and how much physically you have and what are the discrepancies. And also inventory status reports, like how many units I have and how many units we need to reach our desired level of production. All those information you can get from an AIS when we use it for production. Also, production cost report. So what is the actual cost of the production that you can get from this AIS report? Manufacturing status report. The managers, they will get the information about the status of each process or each jobs, what the status that they can get. And reports output from the production process that are used in developing financial statements. So all this information you can get from an AIS. This is human resources and payroll. You can use AIS to manage your human resource management. Here you will update the master data. When you are hiring someone, you have to enter all the information about that employee. And then when he starts working, you have to record his timing. Based on that, you have to prepare payroll. Then disburse payroll, and if there is tax that need to be paid by the organization or some tax maybe you have to deduct from employee, that all information you can get from an AIS. So what are the inputs you have to give to the AIS? You can see here personal action forms documenting hiring of employees and changes in employee pay rates, employee status, all the information. If there is any change in the pay rate of the employee and how many hours he worked. Is there any payroll deduction that need to be done? Is there any tax deduction or tax withholding forms? All these we have to input into the cycle. And we can use AIS for recording hiring and training of employees and all the processes related to employee terminations, like how many years he was working, what was his joining date, and how much amount we had to pay. All those information you can get from AIS. And his earning records. Reporting on payroll benefit and deductions. Making timely, accurate payroll payments to employees, like payment for benefits and payroll tax payments to tax authorities. All these need to be paid on time. That can be done with the help of AIS. And the output of the HR cycle, human resource cycle, is going to be, you will have employee listings showing current employees and employees who left your company. Your payroll register, how much salary is paid to each and every person, what is his gross pay, how much is the deduction every month, if anything is there. Then preparing paychecks to the employees can be done, and deduction reports, how much is deducted from his salary, all those report can be made with the help of AIS. Same like tax reports, how much tax company is paying for him or how much tax company is withholding for him in the organization. So all this information we can generate using AIS in human resource. Also we can have a financing cycle. In financing cycle also we can use AIS, responsible for acquiring financial resources by borrowing cash or selling stock, and for investing financial resources. So financial cycle, normally what we are doing here is acquiring financial resources. Maybe you will acquire this by issuing debt instruments or taking a loan from the bank, or maybe by selling the stocks in the market, And all these can be recorded. The data related to financing can be recorded using NIAS. So paper checks and remittance advices returned by customers with their payments. So how much your investors are making payment to the company. And deposit receipts issued by the bank that are used to document bank deposit. And reconciliation of this bank statement, and also economic and market data and interest rate data. All this can be retrieved or maintained using AIS. So if you use AIS for financing, you will be able to effectively manage your cash. You will be able to do projection of your cash flows and also an estimate of how much interest or dividend you are going to pay. All this can be done using AIS. And what is the output of this cycle? Or what are the outputs of the cycle? Periodic financial statements drawn on general ledger, information about financing process as follows. For example, how much interest, revenue and expenses. How much dividend revenue you are getting or how much you are paying. Summaries of cash collections and disbursement. Balances in investment accounts and debt equity, cash budget. All this can be done in AIS. Also report about investments and borrowing for the financial cycling include changes in investment for the period. How much investment the company made during the period, or how much dividends paid, or how much interest earned, and new debt and retired debt for the period. All this information you can get from AIS. Also you can use AIS in a fixed asset system or fixed asset cycle. So this cycle include acquiring fixed asset, maintaining and depreciating the fixed asset, and disposal. So during these processes, what are the data can be acquired and used by the organization. So same like previous we have done purchase cycle, same like here also a request for fixed asset purchase is being made, and purchasing department will get involved in vendor selection to whom they should buy this particular asset. Then they are receiving the asset and updating the supplier invoices. If the company is making its own fixed asset, then a work order is issued. And also we have to report the repair and maintenance of these assets. Or maybe some asset is moved from one location to another location, that need to be recorded. And if that particular asset is sold or traded with another asset, or it is retired, that need to be recorded. And recording newly purchased fixed asset. Also maintaining a depreciation schedule. This is very important. You can use AIS to maintain your depreciation schedule. And maintaining records for physical locations of each asset. Where is each asset is located? To get those information, we can use AIS also. And also for tracking the repair cost of the organization and tracking disposal of fixed asset. How many assets you have been sold, and are you getting any gain, or are you incurring any loss? All those information you can get by incorporating AIS in your fixed asset system. So these are the output. You can get a list of fixed asset. Digitally you can get all the information, a fixed asset register and a depreciation register, a repair and maintenance report, and a report on retired assets. All those output you can get from this AIS. Then the next cycle is general ledger and reporting cycle, or general ledger and reporting system. So general ledger contains accounts for all assets, liabilities, equity, revenues and expenses. So individual modules what we have, whether it is assets or sales module or inventory module, everything is supporting or everything is connected to your general ledger, because you should know finally how much inventory I have, how much receivables I have, how much payables I have. All those functions are done in different modules and finally it is reaching general ledger. So you can use AIS to get all the information from your different modules like AR, AP, fixed asset, HR, whatever the modules are. So journal entries from accounting and subledgers, these are different modules, and journals as well as company's treasury department update the general ledger. Sometimes you have to do some adjusting entries which is directly you are making in general ledger. It is not coming, it is not retrieved from any other module. Directly you are making some adjusting entries that need to be maintained in the general ledger. And company's financial statements are prepared using this general ledger module. Also managerial reports that can be prepared using this general ledger module. Okay, so till now we were talking about accounting information systems. So it is nothing but using information technology to do your accounting and financing functions. So while doing this, we have to cover up different functionalities. That is what we discussed as cycles. You have revenue cycle, you have purchase cycle, you have fixed asset cycle, HR cycle, and all those things what we discussed. And from next presentation, we are going to talk about more IT functionalities, how we can integrate all these functionalities into one with an ERP system. So that we will discuss in the next presentation. So this presentation I am stopping now, and I will see you in the next zone. Okay, thank you.